Hey, YouTube family, Auntie is here, Patty Jackson. I'm your auntie of pop culture. It's time for the curls, it's time for the scoop, and we are starting with a hug. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. I hate to hear about breakups, but breakups happen all the time. Tom Brady, Giselle, 13 years, 2 kids. This divorce is already finalized. Tom Brady released a statement, like how they grew apart. So I think it's more than him just refusing to retire. Something else is going on. Tom Brady needs to retire. That game last night against the Bucks was terrible, and he just doesn't seem like his head is in the game. I'm not the greatest Tom Brady fan. I know he's a football great, but see, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm an Eagles fan, and years ago when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he didn't want to shake the quarterback's hand, Nick Foles, and I was like, you give somebody the side eye, like, but he's a football great, but he could be past his prime. He must have stayed retired for 6 weeks. Now, athletes, their minds, they work very different from the average person. Their minds are so different. Maybe he don't know how to walk away from the game, and maybe he should, because if you're great, you need to know when to step away. Plus, he's getting a big sports deal with Fox, like millions on millions of dollars. But there's something else here. And you have children. Tom Brady had two by Giselle, one other son from a previous relationship. I think he should retire and get his head right and just think of life after football, which I'm sure it is hard because, like I said, players, athletes are very different. With football, it's a violent sport. It really is. You can't take too many knocks to your heads, and then think when your legs go, when the knees start hurting, then the hip replacement. There's a lot to it, but they have wrapped up, settled. He done gave her money, and now he's ready to, I guess, to, I don't know, live his life or think about retiring. But Tom Brady and Giselle after 13 years. Now, why am I hearing that there's problem already with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck? J-Lo, if this don't work, don't get married no more. And don't you go rushing into another relationship. I think they're two different people. I've always said it. People want a wedding. Marriage is a totally different thing. And guess what? You can't be going out here, you going to change a man. He just be smoking and looking miserable. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That's all I'm going to say. When you start hearing stuff, where there's smoke, there's fire somewhere. So J-Lo, do be careful. Rihanna is back. Lift Me Up is the song for the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever soundtrack. It's a tribute to the late actor Chadwick Boseman. I believe it's played in the film. It's moving. It's haunting. She hasn't given us new music in years. What's it, like 6? It's been years since Rihanna has given us music, but it is out, played every day. I'm going to move my head out the way on iHeart stations throughout the country, but Rihanna is back. The movie opens in theaters November the 11th. You can get your tickets now. I know in big IMAXs they're doing screenings on the 9th and the 10th, but the drum beat is going for Black Panther 2. Wakanda Forever. At the movies, it's Till, the Whoopi Goldberg produced movie about the 14-year-old boy who was brutally murdered in 1955. Emmett Till, 14 years old. His death changed the course of history, and it was because of the activism of his mother, Mamie Till. This is her story. It's a mother's story. It's the story between a mother and a son. How she wanted the world to know what happened to her son. For his photo that was shown in like Jet magazine and publications, people got to see the brutality of lynching and beatings and crimes against, people of color. But Till is in movies, and at times it's hard to watch movies like this because they grip you and they make you feel some kind of way. Jalen Hall is the young man who plays Emmett Till, but the amazing actress Danielle Detweiler plays the mom. It's in theaters now, and it's history. It's our history. That even though we may say, "I'm tired of these movies," we can never forget. We can never, ever, ever forget. I know we'd like to, but we can't. Trust me, there'll be people who make sure that we don't. But we must know our history. We must know our history because you got people out here thinking that racism is gone. One of these rappers said, "I thought racism ended with Dr. King." And I said, where's his parents or where's the family at? Where's his grandma? Nobody teach you? A lot of people have strange ways of thinking. But Till, it's in theaters now. Louis Armstrong, y'all know I'm a documentary queen. He is known as the father of jazz. Well, Louis Armstrong, Black and Blues, is now streaming on Apple TV Plus. Singer Kim is planning a big tour. He could be coming to an area near you, doing a tour next year with Lettucey and Music Soul Child. Jerry Lee Lewis died. Jerry Lee Lewis was a controversial music artist, first rock and roll, then country. 87 years old, he led a life. He had the song Great Balls of Fire, and he was being billed as the next Elvis. When Elvis went into the army, they said, "Well, Jerry Lee Lewis, you're going to be the next king." But Jerry Lee Lewis married his cousin. He was still married, but he married his 13-year-old cousin, who they say was really 12. Jerry Lee Lewis, his nickname was the Killer. He had 2 wives, 2 that died. Like, do we need to look into this? He was married 6 or 7 times, 7 kids. He led a life. When his career was almost ended when he married his cousin. So then he transformed himself into a country music artist. Well, he made them mad over there at the Grand Ole Opry because they said, "Don't be coming here cussing and they ain't want no rock and roll." Well, he got up there and did both because he said that he was everybody said, "I'm the king of rock and roll. I'm the architect of rock and roll." Jerry Lee Lewis led a controversial life. Dennis Quaid played him in the movie Great Balls of Fire years ago. But it was when he married his cousin. They said he was like, "She's 13. They're like, "She's 12. But you married your cousin." Jerry Lee Lewis, a force in music, passed away at the age of 87. Yesterday, I talked about comedian Chris Redd, the other black guy on Saturday Night Live, who left the show just a few weeks ago. He is now dating Kenan Thompson's wife, and she's still his wife because they're not divorced. I think at one time Kenan and Chris were tight, were boys. But I don't think you want one of your boys marrying your wife and you're still married to your wife or hooking up with your wife. Chris Redd was attacked on Wednesday outside of a club. There was blood everywhere. They had to rush him to the hospital. And you know why there was blood? They hit him with brass knuckles. I don't know if there was permanent damage to his face, but they're trying to figure out who would do this and why. Was it karma? Did these guys know him to attack him outside of a comedy club in New York City? But they hit him with brass knuckles. Tyler Perry, it looks like we're going to get a 3rd edition of Why Did I Get Married? The movie first came out in 2007 and 3 years later, and it featured Jill Scott and it featured Janet Jackson. Will there be a 3rd version featuring the stars of the movie right now? Tyler did have to shut down trade publications. They were trying to get messy, and he said, "Stop with the BS." but I think the idea is in Tyler Perry's head, and we could get a Why Did I Get Married Part 3. Big congratulations to the music group Escape. Jermaine Dupri formed the group. You had Tasha and Candy and T.I.'s wife. Incredible women with voices. They had Who Can I Run To, Understanding, Just Kicking It. But Tiny and Tasha and Candy, these women could sing. I like to call them the Scott sisters, but they're going to be honored at this year's Soul Train Awards, which airs November 27th on BET. Dion Cole from Blackish fame is going to be hosting. Beyonce, Mary J. Blige, they're leading with the nominations, but it's happening, and find time for Escape to be honored, and they're going to be honored this year at the Soul Train Awards. Now, there is a fancy edition with pictures and stuff like that, so we keep it going on the weekends with the weekend edition. Leave your comments, because Auntie reads the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel, because you never want to miss a thing, and there's always something going on, and I'm here to just let you know, like, what's going on. Have a good one. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining me. We're excited here in Philly because our Philadelphia Phillies are in the World Series, in Game 1 and 2. They're playing it in Houston, but Game 1 is tonight. So we're like super, super excited. I do appreciate you. Whatever you do, make it a great weekend. Check out the weekend edition. We'll talk with you next week. Have a good one.